Hi there, good afternoon. You've tuned into ET now. This is Market Fatafat with me, Cheryl D'Souza, and along with me I have Vinny Motiwala. Very good afternoon to you, Vinny. And it's indeed turning out to be a good afternoon for the markets as well. If you look at the benchmark indices, Nifty has scaled past the 18,400 mark at near the day's highest point. As we speak, you have Sensex also that's holding on to good gains as of now. If you look at Nifty Bank, at one point in time, that one was languishing in the negative territory. But there you go, now near the day's highest point coming in for Nifty Bank as well. Broader markets moving in tandem with the benchmark indices, with mid-cap index actually seeing lead gains of about 0.6%. If you look at the advanced decline ratio, it's actually neck to neck right now. So 1:1 is the advanced decline ratio at this point in time. Talking about the sectoral indices, a bright spot is the fact that all the sectoral indices are in the positive territory. So you're seeing gains from all the sectoral indices, with media leading from the front, 2.4% uptick coming in for the media index. This is lent, the support for media index is lent by Z Entertainment, and we'll tell you why that one is buzzing through the course of the show. IT index, FMCG, PSU Bank are the one among the top sectoral gainers, and the ones that are gaining the least, realty and pharma. But for now, Vinny, looks like we've started the brand new series on a very firm footing.
Absolutely. A very firm footing is the word, at least that's what it looks like for the markets as of now. But on that note, let's get started with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade, either on the back of news first or on the back of technicals. And on the technicals today, we have Vaishali Parekh joining in with us, while from the research team, today we have Harsh as well as Lisa. Thank you so much for joining in with us, and a very good afternoon to all three of you all. And I'm going to start with the first stock as always. Let's talk about Globus Spirits. This one is in focus on the back of its numbers. When you look at it, yes, revenue is seeing a growth, mild growth of around 6 to 7% there. With the operating performance, that's where we are seeing the weakness coming in. The EBITDA is down by 13.2%. There's a contraction in terms of the margins as well by around 240 basis points, while the profits of the company also are seeing a decline. They're down 26%. As of now, the stock is holding on to gains of almost 0.5% in trade. Not much of an impact in terms of the decline that we're seeing in terms of the margins for the stock.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Aster DM. Aster DM is moving on back of its earnings, but there is an ET Now news break confirmed in that news as well. So let me first take you to the numbers. If you look at the stock price, at one point in time, we saw a decline of about approximately 6%. That was the sharpest intraday decline for the stock since December 2022. Right now, it's recouped some of those losses. Nevertheless, it's still seeing a decline of about 3.6%. The company actually reported a 24.5% year-on-year drop in their consolidated net profit. This because the expenses jumped by about 23%, outpacing the revenue growth. The company has said that the investment bankers are working actively with the potential buyers and their advisors. The shortlisted bidders have expressed a strong commitment to a complete transaction soon, and the binding bids are likely to be received by the end of Q1 FY24. They've said that the board will review the proposals of the sale of the company's business in the GCC. Remember that ET Now had reported in September 2022 that the company may sell the strategic stake to strategic investors in the GCC business. GCC business actually forms about 75% of the revenue for Aster DM. And that was the news that we had broken in September. It has been confirmed that the company indeed is looking to sell.
And we have it coming in the press release for the company after its earnings as well. So yes, that's the word coming in on Aster DM. Let's move on and talk about the next stock. And this one is on the technicals. Vaishali, your first stock for today, that is BirlaSoft. What are the charts indicating for this one? What are the targets that one should keep an eye out on here?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I think IT sector has now started a momentum, and most of the frontline have done pretty well. So BirlaSoft is one stock which I think is getting into new round of momentum, and I think one can gain profit. I mean, there is an upside potential of this stock going to 380 to 400. So this is the stock on my radar right now.
All right, that's the take coming in on BirlaSoft. Harsh, Voltamp, that one also an earnings candidate, is it?
Absolutely, Cheryl. And look at the movement on the stock. It's up and away. Let's look at the numbers though. Your revenue went up around 14% on year-on-year basis, even more sharply when I'm looking at it sequentially. So definitely impressive on that count. We're looking at EBITDA, which has gone up 40% on a year-on-year basis. So clearly margins expanding and expanding quite sharply from that 17% mark Q4 FY22. It's gone up to 21.1% Q4 FY23. So clearly of almost a 400 basis point increase, 4% increase in terms of the margins. You're looking at net profit of 77 crore versus the 52 crore number same time last year, which is a solid 52% higher. And even when I'm looking at it sequentially, the profit after tax in Q3 was just 50 crores. So clearly on the back of those increasing margins as well as decent growth on the top line, you can see the stock going up.
Voltamp for y'all, but moving on to the next one, stock number 5 and Z, Lisa. This one is in focus. Yes, earnings did come out, but there's an important news update that we have coming in this afternoon as well. What is the news update here? That's the main reason why the stock is buzzing in trade as well.
For Z, if you look at the share price, it touched a 52-week low in the morning, but then it soon recouped its losses and it's now up around 7%, and that is because in a big relief for Z, the NCLAT has actually set aside an order by NCLT. Well, this order was related to the review by NSE as well as BSE to grant NOC to the Sony and Z merger. And they had also asked the bosses to reassess the non-compete fee under the clause of the merger. Well, remember that this said order was challenged by Z, and they had contended that it was not granted adequate opportunity to present its side of the story, and it also didn't allow the natural justice principle. So the NCLAT has now said that Z should have been heard, and they have remitted the case back to NCLT. So Sony Group Corporation Chairman CEO Yoshida, he had said that he expects the merger to be completed in the first half of this fiscal. So that was on Z, and it took a U-turn from its morning lows.
All right, that is Z for you. Yes, it did react to those numbers, but now it is reacting to a totally different set of news, and 7% uptick is what Z is logging in today's trading session. By Vaishali, let's talk about GV's Laboratories, and this one is making to the list of a lot of technical analysts, and not just that, even fund houses as well, but this time for a positive reason, isn't it?
Yes, actually, in the pharma category right now, I'm seeing TVs has given a breakout out of this consolidation. So right now, the current scenario, 3,500, I'm looking for a target of 3,800. So this would be a buy now with the support of 3,300.
Okay, a buy with a target price of around 3,800. That's the word coming in on TV's lab. Let's move on and talk about Uniparts. This one is in focus on the back of its numbers. When you look at it, we're seeing a decline in terms of the top line of the company. Revenues down by around 5.3%. Overall, when you're looking at the operating performance, a bit of a weakness that we're seeing coming in there. EBITDA is down by almost 9.6%, coming in just at 63 crores. And the EBITDA margins, 19.3% versus 20.2%, down 92 basis points. This is all what we're talking about on a year-on-year basis. Profits have remained flat over there. So yes, slight bit of a weakness that we're seeing in terms of numbers, and that is why the stock is down 4.7% in trade today.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Himadri Speciality and why is this one in focus. There was a report in the Economic Times that the company is in advanced talks to buy 10 to 15% stake in Australian battery material company, and the deal has enabled the company enables to silicon anode technology that can enhance the range in electric vehicles. The formal announcement is likely in the next couple of days. Remember, this is a source-based information that we are picking up from Economic Times. The company is, the deal is, as per the details, the company is likely to invest about 55 to 82 crore rupees with a valuation of about 537 to 645 crore rupees in this stake acquisition. Remember, the company has a cash balance of around 623 crore rupees as of March 2023. So that's one of the reasons why Himadri Speciality is in focus in today's trading session.
Okay, let's move on and talk about PSP projects, Vaishali. This one on the charts, I don't see this making the list of a lot of technical analysts, but this is a new one for us. So could you talk to us about why do you like this chart? What is looking so interesting for PSP projects? Last 1 year, almost 18% gains is what we're seeing for the stock.
So well, PSP project I've been tracking the stock since 2-3 days, and I think seeing the longer term scenario also, it has always been in an upward trajectory. So I think overall it is a bullish chart. So yes, since yesterday we've been seeing that yes, it's got into new round of momentum, and the volume is also gradually picking up. So once the stock moves past 750, 755, I would be looking at a target of around 780 to 800. So this is one stock which I have recommended right from 700 levels.
All right, moving on, Harsh, let's talk about Prince Pipes, and this one is in focus on back of earnings.
Absolutely. In fact, we've seen sales come off, but volumes go up. So that's the kind of story that currently playing out for Prince Pipes. We've seen Q4 FY23 revenues come in at 764 crore versus the 901 crore number, almost 15% lower on a year-on-year basis. But volumes have gone up, or rather just about come off or remain flat, if I'm not wrong. Around 44,000 metric tons is where the volume is at versus that 45,000 metric ton number in Q4 of FY22, just slightly off in terms of that number. EBITDA though has gone up by 6% on a year-on-year basis. It's come in at 148 crore versus the 140 crore number. So despite the revenue decline, EBITDA has actually gone up. We're seeing margins which have gone up quite significantly, 4% uptick in terms of margins. From that 15% odd, it's come in at 19% now, almost 19.5%. So definitely healthy in terms of margins, and you're seeing PAT improvement around 7% higher on a year-on-year basis. It's come in at 94 crore versus the 88 crore number same time last year. On the back of that, the stock is up and buzzing, up 4% in trade.
Let's move on and talk about Axis Bank on the charts then. Vaishali, why have you picked out this private bank on the charts for us?
So of the banking counter, I like Axis because this still has a lot of upside scope. The stock is gradually picking up, and well, it was a good buy right from 880 levels. But right now in the current scenario also, I think with a near-term support of 900, this is getting ready for a new round of momentum, and I would be looking for a positional target of around 980. So short-term traders can play their strategy accordingly, but positional traders can wait for a target of 980.
All right, that is Vaishali State coming in. Axis Bank with Lisa E. Clerk. Why is this one in the spotlight?
Strong delivery on Q4 performance that has lifted the share price of this stock. So despite the slowdown in the industry, the company actually they delivered very good set of numbers. If we look at the net profit, that was up 17% on year-on-year basis. Even the revenue, that was up 24%. The margin, that actually came as a surprise, and it was much higher than the guided range. It came at around 25.8%, and this was owing to the delivery and the support employee cost, which came in much lower at 49% versus 52%, which we saw last year. The company had indicated in Q3 that they would see some near-term slowness, and they are expecting that because of the client execution that has been slower. So the stock, as we can see, it's up 7%, and it has hit a 3-month high on intraday basis. And in fact, it hit the biggest single day gainer in the last 1 year.
Okay, that's E-Clerks for you all. Let's keep an eye on that one. Let's move on and talk about Jupiter Wagons on the back of its numbers. This one is in focus after a strong performance came in from the company. We're seeing the revenues jump by around 96.4% on a year-on-year basis, and revenue came in at 711 crore rupees. In terms of the net profits of the company as well, 39 crores versus 14 crores. So we're seeing a jump in terms of the net profits of the company as well. That is a 184% uptick on a year-on-year basis. Strong operating performance as well. Around 200% increase in terms of the EBITDA. Margins also seeing a sharp expansion of more than 400 basis points, coming in at 12.9%. Strong performance by Jupiter Wagons, and that is what is keeping the stock of us as well, up 2% in trade as of now.
All right, Vaishali, let's talk about Coforge. And we all remember that when you had Silicon Valley Bank fiasco happened of the US regional bank, you saw Coforge and the like for Coforge, other companies that had exposure to that sort of a segment decline in trade. But despite that, if you look at the year-to-date performance of this company, 14% uptake coming in for Coforge. After a few months of consolidation, do you think that this will now see a breakout going ahead?
Frankly, overall, I am looking at IT sector on the whole. So once we see a decisive move on IT sector, moving past 29,200, it gives scope for all the IT stocks to move further high. And I'm looking at the weekly chart as well as daily chart. I think Coforge, the worst is behind, and it should go further high towards 4800 from here on.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about Zomato. And this one has been in focus of late, non-stop, because of his earnings, the way how the brokerages are giving a thumbs up to this particular counter. But today, why this one is in focus is because of the fact that you have CLSA, that has, I beg your pardon, it is Jefferies that has actually added this one to their portfolio. If you look at what exactly Chris Wood has written in his Greed and Fear, is the fact that they are going to remove investments in HDFC Life Insurance Company as well as Stan Chart in their Asia ex-Japan long-only portfolio, and instead they will look to add investment in SBI Life as well as Zomato. Not just that, they have also introduced Zomato, investment in Zomato to the global long-only equity portfolio as well. So a lot of positives playing out for Zomato. No doubt we are seeing some sort of profit booking take place in that particular counter. Today is down about 1% or so. But nevertheless, most of the brokerages, now including Jefferies, especially Chris Ford of CLSA, giving a thumbs up to that particular counter.
Okay, that is Zomato for y'all. Let's move on and talk about MMTC on the charts then, Vaishali. This one has not done pretty much anything for the longest period of time. Is this actually a buy call, or would you still avoid it, and is it a sell call that is coming in from you?
No, actually it's a buy call. So chartically, I'll tell you the reason why I have chosen this stock. Well, the recent high that was made was at around 42 levels, and from there on we have seen just one-way down slide. Now in the current chartical development, I'm seeing that the bottom has already been made at 26 levels, and now it's in the process of higher bottom, higher higher lows. Yeah. So right now today also it's a good bullish candle development, and I think it's ready for an up move, and I would expect a target of around 38 levels from here on. So risk reward ratio is also very favorable. 28 should be the stop loss, and look for a target of 36, 38. That would be the position trade.
All right, moving on, Harsh, let's talk about Rolex rings, and why is this one in focus today?
Well, on the back of results, Cheryl, so what we're seeing largely is a flat trend with regard to your revenue. It's come in at 2,995 or rather almost 300 crore rupees versus the 307 crore number same time last quarter, and around 288 crore number same time last year. So largely flat on that particular count. But what I'm seeing is that there's been a decline with regard to the EBITDA. It's come down from 72 crore to around 65 crore. So quite a steep decline there, around a 10% odd decline. And what we're also seeing is therefore that margins have come off. They've come off from the 24.5% mark to the 21.6% mark. So nearly 3% erosion in terms of margins as well. What we're also seeing in terms of profitability, of course, that impact is translating to profits. Profits have come in at 46 crore versus the 39 crore mark. So definitely profits going up, but yet, when I'm looking at it sequentially, profits have come off from that 53 crore mark to the 46 crore mark. On the back of that, stock saw some strong pressure at the start of trade. Of course, it's seen a good recovery post that, still down around 1.33%.
Okay, let's move on and talk about another bank that is making your list is IndusInd Bank, Vaishali. What do you like about this one? Similar charts to Axis Bank?
No, this is a different scenario. It has already shown a lot of upmove, but now it's ready for a breakout. So I would see it made an attempt just a few days back at 1275. So I'm waiting for that. This would be a conditional buy. Above 1275, I would look at a projected target of 1320. So let's wait and watch till it moves beyond the breakout point, and that will be ready for the next round of momentum.
All right, moving on, one must note the fact that we've entered the fag end of earnings season and earnings galore. So all of us have a lot of stocks to talk about. So Lisa, HOEC, earnings candidate.
Yes, HOAC, they have reported a good set of numbers. In fact, the stock was up 10% in early morning trade, and it also touched its 10-month high. But HOAC, they have reported good set of numbers on quarterly, on sequential basis. If you look at the revenue, it was up 3%. EBITDA also was up 70% on quarter-on-quarter basis, and PAT was up around 180%. It stood at 107 crores. Margin also grew at around it stood at 77% versus 46% last quarter. The company reported a net profit this quarter versus a loss of 27 crore last year. So well, as we can see, the stock since then it has cooled down and it's trading up around 3%. But so it still it continued with its 3-day winning streak. So that's on HOEC.
Move on and then talk about another earnings candidate that we have, and this is Gokuldas Exports. When you look at the numbers, we're seeing a bit of a weakness overall coming in for the numbers because the revenue of the company is down by 11%. Let's not forget Gokuldas Exports is one of those leading apparel exporters as well. So it's important, how the trajectory shapes out as well. Other than that, in terms of the operating performance also, we're seeing weakness over there as well. EBITDA down 9.61% on a year-on-year basis. Margins have remained a bit flattish over there on a year-on-year basis, while in terms of the profits of the company, they are at 47 crores versus 61 crores, down 23%. So yes, we are seeing some pressure coming in on the stock price as well. As of now, it's down almost 1.52% in trade.
All right, moving on, let's talk about Star Health as well as PB Fintech. Why both of them are in focus is the fact that there was a block deal, a substantial amount of block deal take place in both of these counters. If you look at Star Health, at one point in time, it actually fell about 7.8%. That was the biggest intraday percentage loss since November 9. You had 15 block deals that took place earlier on in the day between the price range of 548 to 555 rupees per share. If you look at the counter, it is on track for a third consecutive session of losses. Meanwhile, for PB Fintech, it saw a block deal about 2.3% earlier on in the day. So both of these counters are in focus on back of substantial block deal that took place earlier.
Okay, keeping an eye out on both these stocks on the back of a block deal. But Cheryl, yes, let's get in some update what's happening on the monsoon front, and the IMD has predicted a delay in the monsoon this year. The IMD expects the southwest monsoon to hit Kerala on June 4th. My colleague Sumit Chaturvedi caught up with Dr. D.S. Pai, senior scientist at IMD, for an exclusive chat. Let's go across and listen in.
See, as per based on our multi-model ensemble forecast, this year we are expecting that during the monsoon season, that is June to September period, the country as a whole, the total seasonal rainfall is likely to be 96% of long period average with a model error of plus or minus 4%. Okay, when we see the region-wise distribution, Northwest India is likely to receive below normal rainfall, that is less than 92%, and all other three homogeneous regions, that is Central India, Northeast India and Southern Peninsula, rainfall is likely to be normal. Okay. However, within the normal areas itself or below normal area, there can be some areas where the rainfall can be normal or above normal or below normal. So for that, we, in addition to that, we also have given a spatial distribution of probability distribution. And coming to month of June, we are expecting that the onset of monsoon over Kerala likely to take place around 4th June. However, the rainfall, if you see the spatial distribution, most of parts of the country below normal rainfall is likely over in the month of June, except many parts of the Southern Peninsula and some parts of Northeast India.
So what is the forecast on El Nino impact, or what are the factors that will support it, as we know that it's going to be there as well?
See, this that 96%, that is around 4% less than long period average of 100%. That is mainly can be attributed to expected El Nino event in the Pacific. At present, over equatorial Pacific, neutral ENSO conditions are there actually. But however, model forecasts are showing that, and the temperature are also is being seen warming over that region. So most of the models are indicating that by in the next 2-3 months, it will reach to El Nino conditions.
And there you go, you heard it from the IMD itself on back of the monsoon forecast. Normal monsoon is what we're expecting, but let's take a look at what the Nifty is doing. and it has hit a 2023 high. So it has hit the highest level in the year 2023. So like I said, it's a good afternoon for the markets as well, Vinny.
Absolutely, a very good afternoon, and on that good note and a bright note, we're going to take a very short break, viewers. Don't go anywhere because we'll be back with more updates, more stocks after this break.